BenFlyingRetro, and I'm embarking on a quest to purchase every classic GI Joe comic from the original 80s and 90s Marvel run. Warning. Hunting down individual issues from every corner of the globe in whatever order the universe decides to give me. Join me and my pal Steve every week as we discuss my latest find. Welcome to Chasing Joe. Chasing Joe. Episode 37 of CJ Chasing Joe. It's me, BenFlyingRetro. I'm in the office, the workspace of my household today, joined as always by my good pal
S-Job7-Eder, and you call that a workspace? My goodness, Benjamin.
Well, look, you call that a batwing hanging up? What are you trying to do to our audience? Jeez, when that thing's not there, there's like 5 comments. The batwing's gone. The batwing's gone.
Where's the Batwing?
Well, you replaced it with...
Where does he get such wonderful toys?
Where does he get those wonderful toys? Now, you replaced it with Dash Rendar's Outlander from Shadows of the Empire. The
Ben,
transmedia...
No. Hang on, boy.
Oh.
His
Lander.
Outrider, you noob.
That's what I said, Outrider, didn't I?
Outlander? Whatever. You're a
damn
it! It's okay.
Look, Dash Rendar was Han Solo in a book where you couldn't have Han Solo.
For
so they just... Yeah,
they didn't give us Lando.
One.
They gave us some other white guy. Damn it.
In Star Wars Special Edition, Mos Eisley, they put it in.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, nice touch. Did that hit you in all the right feels? The movement of Shadows of the Empire, one of my favourite things to talk about.
Gosh, no. I remember seeing like the N64 game on like there was a sort of video game review show called Cybernet.
Wow.
In the late 90s in South Africa, and they reviewed Shadows of the Empire reviewed very highly. Loved looking at Star Wars in pixels. Wow, the Battle of Hoth from a different point of view. Amazing.
It was an N64 launch title.
Oh, it was.
So, yes.
Back on that topic.
You had a video game. You had a book. You had figs. You had a soundtrack to a film that doesn't exist. Bizarre. George Lucas was just testing the fan base. Come on, guys. Is there any life in this IP?
I really wanted to get some of the figures at the time, but they weren't available widely, and I think there was like some toy dealer who wanted to charge the earth, and I just didn't have the bucks. But I do recall in Tales of the Bounty Hunters, that novel, with sort of vignettes, short stories from each of the famous 7, the Secret 7, what do I want to call them? The Executor 7. Call them that. Each of them have a story. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but Boba Fett's and I think it's just IG-88's story is very centered on what he was doing during Shadows.
Yeah, I love those books. I like Tales from Jabba's Palace as well, the little short stories.
Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Oh, yeah. So good. I've got all of them. But that's actually, in hindsight, my favorite time of Star Wars. We've spoken about this before, like headcanon, and now everything's been explained away, and the IP is all but dead to me. You're a big Andor guy.
Am I?
I don't know.
I think I'm the only person on the planet who's not enamored with Andor.
I never saw it, never caught it.
But it's a me problem. I realized my love for Star Wars has died, so all of these attempts, some good, some middling, to milk the IP frustrate me, because Star Wars, like they're dancing on the grave of this thing.
Yeah. So why did you put the Batwing back up? To appease our fan base?
I think visually it's more interesting. I mean, it is an interesting visual. The Outrider is just, it's a non-Falcon Falcon. It's not a signature of an outline. I also have some shelving. I mean, this is useless radio, but I have some additional shelving now with a Maggot, Pogo, the Demon, Destro's Demon, the Despoiler, the AGP, a whole bunch of IGs. We're looking a little bit more Joe now. This is more of a GI Joe podcast room.
It certainly is. And look let's
yes, please.
get
Enough
into
of this Star Wars malarkey.
It certainly is malarkey. Now, let's do a reveal. The mic's kind of in the way, so I'm just going to bust it out. I don't know where my camera is. There it is. This book is, well, like Legolas says, this book is old. Very old. It is, what issue is it? It's issue 8, November 9th, 1982. God, this is an old comic, but you may not think that by looking at it. Why is my camera mirrored? What's going on?
No, we've spoken about this before. It's mirrored for you, Ben.
Okay, I'm just severely dyslexic. I just can't seem to work it out. But look, before we start talking about this book, let's immerse ourselves in the cultural landscape of November 9th, 1982. Now, I'm on my iMac here, and you've just disappeared. There you are. So, movies. Rambo First Blood was in screen 1 in the multiplex. What a film. Wow. That franchise went a very different route after the first outing, for sure. Memories of that film for you?
Did you encounter First Blood after
3?
Oh yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Look, Rambo was such an icon by the time we encountered it that going back to First Blood was a strange journey. It's like
like an art house film. It's just like very different.
What we were in for.
Well, look. I mean, if that was too bloody for you in screen 1, you would have probably been found in screen 2, where you could have still been watching E.T., which came out in the summer. But when I do the cultural landscape and I do the box office, I realised that movies had such long cinema runs back in the day. Like 5 months was very normal for a film still to be out at the cinema and making like bank. So Rambo had just come out in November and was number 1, but number 2 was still E.T.
Wow. And there were only so many copies floating around a country in any given time. I mean, I believe Star Wars Episode 4 it only reached Australia in 1978.
Wow. So, well, look, interesting you should say Star Wars, because in screen 3, Empire Strikes Back re-release was out that weekend. Toronto, gosh, indeed. Can you imagine a re-release in 1982? So 2 years after it came out, they were obviously getting people ready for Return of the Jedi. I couldn't believe that when I saw that on the box office report. I was like, hang on a minute, Empire re-release? Joyous. Wow. Now, on your Walkman, you would have been listening to Love Lifts Us Up Where We Belong by Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes, which is from the movie Officer and a Gentleman with Richard Gere, one of my mum's favourites. Stumble down the street, go into the comic shop, you could have picked up a double-sized issue of Uncanny X-Men number 166. If you want to know what Batman was up to, you could have picked up Detective Comics 520. I mean, how old is that book? Is that 60s or 50s? I don't know.
This is Detective Comics, right? So this was
like Detective Comics in 1982 was already at issue 520. Now, toys, Glowworms. Do you remember Glowworms? Designed by Hasbro Play School Division in 1982. They were everywhere. Battleships, Munchman, Dark Tower, Scramble, Astro Wars. Did you have an Astro Wars? Big bulbous. No, it didn't hit you. It was like sort of Space Invaders, but it was almost mechanical. Like lights.
Okay.
I really want one for my room. Anyway, Astro Wars was great. Galaxy Invader 1000. Speak and Spell. Yeah. Do you remember Speak and Spell?
I think so. My brother or sister had one.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. Work by the time it was handed down to me. It was just a prop.
Yeah, beautiful prop. Like, oh, love a speak and spell. Well, look, you've been culturally landscaped by me. Now we can talk about this. Now, this was an Etsy USA purchase. This has come all the way from the US of A. How much do you think I spent? Oh, it's minty.
I want to say £8.
£5.
You bastard! It looks amazing. It is so old, and it cost a song.
Yeah, look, it's in such good condition as well. So at episode 37, the running total is up to £189.87 USD. That comes to a whopping $255. I have had 10 generous donations. Episode 37. I mean, I am drowning in Joe comics, and I think 189 quid is an okay spend, considering I've got some, I've got 155 in there. So I think I'm doing pretty well. Let's smell this sucker. I like to find the spine. God, this is an old book.
Go for the legs, but we're only wearing...
Oh, no, he's blown it.
I flubbed it.
He's flubbed it. That arm is too strong for blasters.
There's no line that's go for the spine.
No.
Sweep the leg. Nah.
Sweep the leg. Karate Kid.
I mean, go for the spine.
I think I saw a trailer.
Retro original.
There's a new Karate Kid, isn't there? I saw a trailer for it.
Jackie Chan and Ralph
What
Macchio.
is it? What is it? Called Karate Kid Legacy or something? I don't know. Legacy.
I saw the trailer when I went to watch the last Mission Impossible film.
How was it?
Fun. It looks good.
How was the film?
Which one?
Mission Impossible.
Absurd.
Absurd. Because last night I watched the first one, and you forget that's Brian De Palma. That is espionage. It's
MI 1996.
It's amazing. It's so good. It's so well acted. Cruise
it's so interestingly shot as well.
Yes. It's so interesting you should say that. Yeah, because I was picking up on that, like these low down kind of up angle shots when they're in the aquarium restaurant in Prague. Like that whole opening 30 minutes is so iconic. You feel like you're watching the finale. And it's just the start of the adventure. Brilliant film. The difference between 1 and 2 is so of the time. Like, is it John Woo did the second one?
John Woo, of course.
It's slow motion doves. It's dual wielding. It's endos on motorbikes. Woo! Yeah. It's a funny franchise. Very interesting. Because there was a big break between 2 and 3. Big break between 2 and 3. Abrams comes in, like the young guy, doesn't really reboot it. So then there's another big break between 3 and whatever it's called, Ghost Protocol. Yeah.
No, yeah.
And is that the Burj Khalifa one? And then really it had that's when it got massive, when the Burj Khalifa one came out. And yeah. So I'm going to rewatch them because I wouldn't know what's going on because I know that it's a part 2. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it spoils absolutely nothing when I say they totally acknowledge the fact that it's a part 2, and boy, is the first 30 minutes of this film entirely devoted to catching up the audience.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
You're pretty well covered.
Okay. I've got a lot of films to watch
you
before I
won't
can
miss
watch
any
it.
plot beats by just watching Dead Reckoning. Final Reckoning, that one.
You wouldn't believe it, but this minty book does indeed smell of World War II field dressings. It's so old. It's gone medicinal. It smells... Antiseptic. Yes, very much like that. Yeah. But, dude, you can see... I don't know if this comes through the screen. Look at the condition of this book, dude. Because, when the first 20 issues, there are some rough ones out there, S-Jubs. Sure. They are in bits. This looks like I just went and bought it from a comic shop.
You've done well, Ben. And you've done very well to get this particular issue, because I have a thesis, a theory that I'd like to put forth at the outset. Issue 8
Do
of
it.
GI Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Operation Sea Strike, for anyone still unsure, I think is Herb Trimpe's magnum opus of GI Joe.
Well,
the man did a lot of work on the title, on special missions, the GI Joe Transformers crossover, the early books. But this is his script, his story,
his art.
His art. Yeah, he inked himself, and it is incredible.
Do you know the circumstances of that and how that came to pass?
Oh man, I went as far as looking at his Wikipedia page. I don't know any further information on this issue. I'd love to, but unfortunately Herb left us in 2015. We can't get the story, at least not firsthand. I just think that maybe he had something up his sleeve. Maybe he had been working on it for some time because he could kind of crack on his own. I know that his arrangement with Marvel was he could work from home. He was kind of freelance, but he was receiving a salary and he received all the benefits, but he didn't have to go into the bullpen. So this is something that he ground out maybe in his spare time. Just had it in the background. I mean, this reads like an issue 1. This is the impossible mission that showcases all the members of the team. It hadn't happened since issue 1 to that point. Everything else was sort of broken up into smaller groups, which is building the intrigue and creating more strings to individual characters' bows. But this is our first time back with everyone. Everyone has something to do. Everyone has a time to shine. And my God, is this a jam-packed issue? 22 pages, and unrelenting.
He has drawn the heck out of it as well. But let's start with the cover. Always stands out to me because for some reason, whenever I see this issue, I always think that it's like a shipping yard or a shipping crane or something. I'm like, where are they? At the docks?
Because it's a worm's eye view. We don't see the terrain. We see the fam kind of foreshortened within an inch of its life, so you can't really... Like, its dimensions are wonky. Stalker is zipping through the legs of this bizarre War of the Worlds kind of at
sea legs.
Sea legs, yeah.
But look, it's also got that War of the Worlds like arm reaching out that goes over the font as well. Oh, I always miss that, but look at it.
Yeah.
So cool.
This
and Stalker's
is actually by Mike Vosberg, sorry. Yeah. He's going to be stepping in for the interiors in a minute, but this was a cover that he did, and it feels like it owes a lot to Kirby. But both artists have huge Jack Kirby inspiration.
Stalker's synonymous with the jetpack here as well, and that sort of jet wash arc is so lovely.
I appreciate Stalker having that close association with the jump. For many people, it's not Grand Slam, it's Stalker. And it is even called out on his second version file card. He might have come with a kayak, but the file card name checks that he is a jump instructor.
Well, so I would take the kayak.
Grand Slam what to do.
I would take the kayak, dude. I went kayaking on the weekend. You wouldn't catch me on a freaking rocket jetpack like that. Jeez, no.
Suicide. With no safety gear. I mean, Stalker is just rocking his camis and his beret. At least Grand Slam's got some padding.
Yeah.
But he's just that good, dude.
Not much more to say about the cover apart from I love the blues and the pinks.
I always thought it looked like Snake Eyes at the controls of the sea legs.
Yeah.
Just something about him looks like he's wearing goggles and the sort of Snake Eyes ribbed like mouth covering.
The science fiction within this book is
strong.
I adore. It's just it's almost like a Elseworld spin on Cobra or what Cobra could have been. I would probably wager that maybe you would have been more interested for Cobra to evolve from this kind of narrative than the one that they actually ended up taking.
Yeah, Cobra is this high science. They might as well be invading aliens because it's inexplicable where they get such incredible equipment from, making GI Joe really at a disadvantage. Instead, we learn, what Larry did was far more interesting, perhaps, like really humanizing the enemy, giving them a base of operations on domestic US soil. That's an interesting plot choice. This is certainly far more one-dimensional to make it this like super villainy opponent. But yeah, you're right. I do like me some early Cobra concept.
You do, and you like the fanatical edge that they're pushing as well.
Yeah, these aren't humans. These are like psychopaths. They're just bad dudes. They make for more compelling, or less compelling humans, but more disposable enemies.
I kind of enjoy. We're going to open up this book in a minute, but I do enjoy the contrast visually between GI Joe and Cobra in this issue. Like how, there's shots of the Joes using mortars and they've got tanks and they are very much up against just tech and science fiction stuff that's crazy. And there's just I don't know, visually it's very, very enjoyable for me. And Cobra absolutely did not continue in that vein. If anything, they came way more close to kind of real world stuff as well. This is a very zany issue, but let's get into it. First page, codename Sea Strike. Look at this Cobra vessel. Now that just gets my imagination pumping. I mean, imagine the ocean being populated with loads of these. This is such a interesting ship.
A catamaran that is also submersible, that also has a seaplane mounted on its back.
When it goes under, that was a shock. I was like, okay, here we go. Right. But the second page, the way he's drawn Cobra Commander with that sea poncho. You feel the elements and the wind.
It is
beautiful.
Crimson for people unfamiliar with the issue, and it's a great offset to his battle helmet blue uniform. It's awesome.
Don't you love those 4 panels there? Because it's essentially
the camera just spinning around him.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing, but we drink it in 4 times. I do. Yeah. What have I put here? I've put weather elements, because we go straight from this to the Joes all complaining, freezing their ass off.
So Cobra Commander is spying on the Kennedy Space Center in Canaveral. He's off the coast of Florida. It's pissing with rain. They want to do an all-out strike on on a shuttle going up. A shuttle that will launch a satellite that will not only locate Cobra's undersea bases, but also destroy them. So this is kind of a weaponized shuttle or satellite payload. Anyway, it's an all-out strike on NASA, and GI Joe is able to thwart it at multiple tiers. Like this battle just rages on. And as we've already established, everyone is name-checked and used in the issue. And it's astounding.
Yeah, it is.
Now, as we will break down in greater detail.
That boat is huge. Well, you think it's huge, and then you see the size of Cobra's underwater sea base. Look at that. That is pure science fiction. It's absolutely colossal, kind of like a pre-Terradrome, like Cobra Commander's ambition is to actually have dozens and dozens of these sea bases.
I thought your first thought would go to Largo from The Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, he's got a great underwater sea base that surfaces, yeah?
But we learn that Cobra doesn't just have this one. They have a network of these things, these missile bases that ride very low and have laser shielding. So low, in fact, they are in the center of the Earth because, okay, Trippy's great at a lot of things, but he flubbed the numbers here. This thing apparently rides at a depth of 12,500 meters. Now, I had to look this up, but the lowest point of the ocean is less than 10,000 meters.
What is that? The trench off the coast of Japan?
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Let's see.
Terrifyingly deep.
Deepest ocean It's called the Challenger Deep. It's located in the Mariana Trench
That's
in the
it.
Western Pacific. Oh, it's just over 10,000 meters. So 10 kilometers down. That's what I'm going to say 6 or 7 miles, statute miles.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is 2,000 meters below that, apparently. So
Wow. And it just has one mega missile in its sort of launch capabilities, one payload.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, look at these panels, Trimpe.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Cobra's hierarchy didn't have a Zartan, Mindbender, Firefly. It didn't have any.
No.
Instead, we get the blue shirt.
Oh, we do.
And boy, have they never looked better.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We get some interesting additional details, like a unit patch that's like a raised, well, I suppose it's a pyramid, so it's not raised, it's a 3-dimensional object on their patches, or at least it looks 3-dimensional.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think of those blue shirts, buddy?
Yeah, I do. I absolutely love the red. Look, and that dude with the patch and without the helmet, but he's still just rocking the, what do you call that? Just the face, yeah.
Scarf.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a balaclava. What would you call
and just
it?
all of the gold accents is so cool on them. Yeah. I mean, look,
and they're double-breasted. Have you noticed?
I just picked that up. Yeah.
Brilliant. So they kind of are a hybrid between Cobra officers and the actual Cobra Commander uniform. Just
look at the color. You're so zoomed in. Look at the bleed.
These are scans from actual pages. I'm very fortunate to have them all unremastered, untouched up. This is from paper to computer.
Can we just skip to the C? There's just this. I'll hold it up because it's just such a joyous science fiction double page here of the sea legs. That's just so War of the Worlds. Works so well visually. It's such a.
I've always wanted to see if Trimpe had some design sheets maybe that were unused, and just as he was sketching or getting his head around how the sea legs would operate, I want to see them with their legs folded up.
Well, as in when they were sort of docked or something, or yeah.
Well, you see propellers and you see fins, and that gives me the impression. And this sort of thing protruding out of the top is a snorkel or a periscope.
Yeah, so they actually land.
No, I think they propel themselves through the water like submarines.
Yeah,
and the legs are folded up flat. So they're completely.
What a cool visual that would have been in a cartoon or something. Coming in and
then unfolding. Yeah.
Do you think there's something in the, the Empire Strikes Back had come out a couple of years ago? Big things that walk are interesting. Do you think that fed into?
It couldn't not. I mean, the cultural impact of Empire is huge, but the ATST. The ATST is a blink and you miss it, basically in Empire. Of course, Jedi would give us far more screen time with them, but I don't know. I think bipedal. There's something menacing about it. It's like I'm sure he'd probably used bipedal robots in his very storied career as a comic book artist before this. So that would have predated Empire.
I mean, this is almost more Cobra La than. Look at the sort of it's that sort of bulbous. You look at the helicopter in the next panel across. Okay. Look at all these vehicles going into battle. Look at the ground tanks. There's definitely a kind of a style that he's got going on here.
Insect-like, very rounded. Yeah, all the Joe stuff is very real world and has hard edges, whereas the Cobra stuff is quite swoopy.
Yeah.
And like a 1960s view of the future.
Yes.
Once again, like Trimpe's such an interesting style cut and paste of the signature Kirby affectations, like the way everything's a gleaming silver.
Yeah. Just scroll up and have a look at the tank turrets as well. Like I think your insect analogy is perfect.
Well, you said Cobra La. That's all you, baby.
Yeah. Where's this panel I'm on? There's maybe it's the next page. Yeah, it is. The next page where you get a nice close-up of these tanks. Or the following page after that. Yeah, look at that panel.
Amphibious assault guns.
Yeah. Now, we do have... Cobra Commander is absolutely relentless in this issue. He comes back about 5 times with... Don't worry, that's not our goal. Ta-da! He's back. He keeps... It's very amusing. I'm actually here for it, to be honest with you. It's
I was waiting for you to address that. For the
it's Saturday morning cartoon style. He's the big villain. Of course he's got something else.
You're Talking Joe episode on this book because I think I can recall with some clarity that you were a little bit maybe down on that.
Yeah, because we've already discovered that back then I wasn't reading other comics, I think. And now reading this book, you've got to put yourself in 1982. You can't read it. Oh, geez. Doorbell's just gone. It's the postman. 2 secs.
Right on. I don't hold me to this, but I do believe that this could be the widest gulf we've done. I mean, this will mean nothing to anyone listening to this in the future who might be checking out our playlist where we do these in comic sequential order. But to those of you listening along with us, you've just heard us talking about
thought that was going to be... Hang on a minute.
And now we're talking about issue 8. So these are worlds apart. Stylistically, the way the story is at, everything is so vastly different between 121 and issue 8. So what an experience. It's like reading a completely different book. Yes.
It sounds like I left and you just carried on and you filled that air.
I will save myself an edit if I can.
Yeah.
It's all gold, baby. None of this winds up on the floor.
This does read like a great Saturday morning serial, doesn't it? Don't you think? And you're right.
Budget if that's the case. Wow.
20 pages. What they pack in is, well, what Herb packs in is incredible.
Yeah.
I think. And look, we also get to go into space. You know? The last few pages.
And also a counterattack. GI Joe go on the offensive.
Yes! They get onto the sea base. And that's where you see the fanatical Cobra Troopers. They give them one chance to get off that thing. And they're like, nah, we're more than happy to stay on here. And then Cobra Commander comes back again. Like it's... yeah.
The Cobra Salute, which disappeared for a while, I think. I wouldn't mind them bringing it back. It's a disgusting image, but it gets you. You know?
It does.
Icky feel, but like, yeah, maybe there are guidelines against doing particularly fascist salutes in comic books now.
When they got onto that,
with toys.
When they go onto that base, I really did feel like I was watching a cartoon or reading a cartoon. You know, just how quickly everything was starting to unravel and unfold. It's a very exciting read. There's no sort of time wasted between the panels. It reads fast. It plays out fast. I mean, that is Green Joe City right there.
An entire battle sort of smashed into one splash page before moving on to the rest of the plot points. Like,
yeah. Now, do you want to flick to the
spectacular issue?
Yeah, look at that. It's
the blood and guts all-out charge on the blue shirts. Explosions going off in the background. Yeah, it's all hands on deck, man. This issue. I need to say something more interesting, don't I? This is not making.
Get over discussion. To the Let's get onto these outer space panels.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Doctor Strangelove?
No, never.
Too old-timey for you.
Yeah. But I love that panel where the shuttle is inverted is so cool. Just so we're reminded, we're in space,
Blink
baby.
And you miss it, but you can see the missile streak in the background.
Oh yeah,
it's a lovely touch. Like space is entirely inked, except for little spots of white. Like this is an unusual approach for a Joe book. Like we don't often see this.
Now, what Joes have we got up there, S-Jubs?
Breaker and Flash.
Breaker and Flash. And Flash is going to be the hero that diverts the missile.
Mm-hmm. Because he's got a jetpack.
Yeah. Damn straight he has.
He's able to use it, sort of ride the missile and throw off its direction ever so slightly, just by a few degrees.
Yeah. Like, you are finding out that the Joes, GI Joe, is just, they're happy in space, they're happy on land, sea. They are a multi-faceted unit.
When all you've got is 13 guys, I guess you have to make them wear every hat in order to tell this extremely out there story. I mean, they all have to be James Bonds, equally at home under the sea or moonraking or whatever.
Yeah.
I do want to draw attention to a throwaway line from Breaker where he says, "Come on, Flash, you're the genius around here. Think of something." That's interesting to me. Is Flash regarded as a big brain on the team? I guess he must be.
What you think? Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think he's already got maybe an electronics engineering degree, but I don't know if that would make him a genius. Do you think he's sort of a Big Bang Theory kind of guy?
Check out the big brain on Flash.
Yeah,
that's right. The metric system. I'm still doing my Tarantino season, S-Jubs.
Amazing.
Now
with cheese.
Yeah. So Cobra Commander at the end, you are convinced that he has been blown up. Absolutely convinced. Now he's already come back so many times, but this might be his best comeback of the whole issue because he blasts out on one of those, one of the seaplanes that you see docked on the ship at the start. Is that?
Yep. How's that for foreshadowing? I mean, it's
yeah,
absolutely dominating that opening splash page. And yes, Chekhov's seaplane. I didn't know it could take off from an undersea position, but I suppose everything in this issue is basically a submersible.
I did have a laugh out loud moment when the helicopter went under.
Yeah.
That is so good. It's like, I thunk it, I'm going to draw it. Down it goes.
And you have to do a little bit of, I suppose, sleuthing as a reader, because there are no motion lines to indicate what's going on. You see that the helicopter blade is stopped; it's no longer in motion. But you have to really look closely to notice that the tail rotor has become the propeller.
Oh,
it's now swiveled to the back. Yeah,
it's
very switchblade.
That's cool.
Switchblade / Barracuda.
And there it goes.
Blades. I wish the main rotor blades kind of folded in on themselves. Looks very awkward.
Or they just like jettison, just like poof, and you just go. But then that means that you could never fly again. Now what I'm getting... Oh, wait a minute. I'm thinking of a Mask toy where the... which one is it with the blades kind of fold back round?
Switchblade.
Yes. That's it. The bike, green bike.
Green bike would be Condor.
Crikey, yeah, my memory's not great with Mask. But you told me it's making a big comeback.
I don't know if it's making a big comeback, but for those of us who never bought the original toys, loyal subjects will be putting them out. Well, not the originals; they are very faithfully recreating the originals.
Yeah, no, Mask, it did get onto my radar, but it was simultaneous with Joe, and it could never really, I was maybe into it for like a couple of months, and then...
I was a slave to scale even back then. And I got the little 2-inch guys, and I was like, no, I can't fit a Joe inside Thunderhawk, so it's dead to me. Cool as hell, but I can't play with that.
I remember really enjoying the cartoon, though. It's kind of one of those... ones where I was more into the cartoon than the toys, I think.
How kick-ass was the theme tune?
Oh, so good. So
amazing.
Good. Was every
synth scale.
Was every toy a 2-pack?
No.
Are you sure? I just feel like every time it was like the synergy between you'd get a goodie and a baddie. Have I got that wrong?
Got there eventually with the split seconds. I think the third series, they had like sort of shadow versions of themselves or holographic versions. I don't know the lore, but like basically the vehicles were split apart, so you'd have an occupant for both. But in the first series, it was Thundercracker that had Hondo and I'm blanking on the name, Buddy Hawks, I think. So they were a twofer, and then Rhino had Alex Sector and also Matt Tracker.
I remember getting a 2-pack Venom and Tracker. Bubbled.
Venom and Tracker.
Bubbled
oh, yeah,
together.
Okay, right. Yeah. I suppose you would get the figures single. I mean, that must be a bit dud. If you got that on Christmas morning, like...
Venom was a cool fig, actually.
Yeah?
Like a... Sort of his outfit, he kind of just looked like a CEO of a bank or something.
But the figs were not the draw, man. So
no.
A bigger pack must have felt very anticlimactic. It's like getting one of those wind up and go GI Joe vehicle packs. It's like you need a figure to operate this thing to even make it fun.
All the excitement was in the masks, you know. They were cool. Like when they went on, it was like, okay, this is exciting now.
Now he's a superhero. Okay.
But look, when this comic came out, 82, what was available to you, toy-wise? This is so early on.
You had the original 13 Joes, you had 2 Cobras, and I think you could mail order the Cobra Commander by then.
Okay, and what could you...
Maybe even Major Blood.
You could buy the Vamp, the Mobat. What could you get Cobra-wise?
2 Troopers and a Cobra Commander.
Really?
That's it, buddy, yeah.
That's it.
That's why we have sea legs and the amphibious tanks and all this sort of tech that Cobra's throwing at Joe. It's all from the wild imagination of one Herb Trimpe. I love how the sea legs even have their acronym given to us. C, surprise, engage, and attack.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, it's thin. That's thin. But that would do.
Not anywhere near as strained as Warrior, Hovering, Attack, Launch, Envoy.
S-Jobs, though, as you said earlier, they would have made a really fun toy. Imagine being able to go underwater with it, come out, and then snap that leg down. I think it would have...
looking at it now, it's almost a shark. If you can imagine those legs folding up to be wings...
Yeah, I could just imagine having that retractable, like, eye, whatever that does. What does that thing do? It's almost like one of Doc Ock's kind of limbs, almost.
How do you make a baddie contraption? Make it unbalanced. Make it asymmetrical.
There's some good takedowns, isn't there? How do they take down...
Great takedowns.
Yeah, is there a couple of interesting ones? It's kind of a bit like...
Rock and Roll's got the best of the bunch.
Ah, yes. It's a bit like the scene on Endor where we get to see the Atsters get taken down in different ways, and that is a good one.
Well, this is coming back to the point that everyone gets a chance to shine. Like, Stalker's lobbing a grenade up the tailpipe of a sea leg.
Yes!
Rock and Roll is on the ram, drilling the leg off.
These are good takedowns. And this is when Cobra Commander's like, well, they were just who cares?
Just throwaways. But the most brutal takedown got to be Snake Eyes. We don't even see the effect of his karate chop, but we get a sound effect, which is very telling. It's scroosh. Is that the sound of a man's head caving in?
That's a melon. He split that.
He has gone full Iron Fist on this dude. And
so he's just in a tank, that guy.
Yeah. The Cobra trooper or officer, probably a trooper. He's got the pistol on his chest or grenade launcher on his chest. He gets his head absolutely pummeled, pounded, pulverized.
Yeah. That's Snake Eyes' only kind of moment.
Hawk gets a great moment. My lord.
Which one? Like coming out of the little...
Well, just before that. When he saves the day, Ben, that little moment there.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Cobra Commander's
it comes down to one shot. Yeah. Almost like the Jaws moment. I tell you what,
can you shoot a missile with a rifle? And
you can try. I don't think it would do anything, but
Hawk's that good.
To be fair, that's how I used to play.
Yeah.
Like one lucky shot would instantaneously make any projectile blow up.
Especially infuriating when your buddies are playing Cobra and you're playing Joe and they think they've got you beat and you've got one guy standing on the gantry with a gun and he's able to take the shot on your missile. This is a lot like the way anyone would play, though. You'd kind of jump around to where your various sort of forces are engaged. Like,
can you relate to this?
Over here we've got the tank battle. Over here we've got the infantry battle. Over here we've got Hawk, like the last man, the last line of defense.
Yeah. Can you relate to this? Because I'm playing with Scouts so much at the moment, and action figure play. A lot of Transformers play. And I remember this from my childhood. The frustration of your play partner making everything fly. Figures, even fit. I'm like, dude, they can't fly. Not everything of figures just sort of flying around. Get that fig on the ground, Scout, so we can have a proper ruck. And he's like, nah.
Transformers though, right?
Yeah. They
sorry.
just put... See ya.
But at that age, it's far more fun. It's just, you don't want to be down on the dirt. You want to be
and he's just like, smash. He's like, I'm just like, that's you hitting me, Scout. Yeah. I'm like, come on, let's get some
frustration. My play with Elliot has not gotten that advanced yet. It's mainly a case of like, I can never win ever.
That's
every shot of his is a kill shot, and every shot of mine squarely misses.
Yeah, we do a lot of Transformers play, whereas we're the Transformers. And after school yesterday, we went down to the beach, and there's like these climbing kind of rocks, and we were playing Transformers. And
he's Grimlock, right?
So he is. So there's no real. He'd be an Autobot and I'll be an Autobot sometimes, but they're still enemies, We're very much in that kind of... Yeah, so I'm normally Ultra Magnus. He's my go-to. And he can be Blitzwing or Hot Rod or Prime. But at some point I'm like, look, let me get a shot in. Let something good happen for my character. He's in that obsessed with like winning and... Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I've been through it all before. I do remember it. It's just like, you're the fool guy, And then all of a sudden he's like, invisible. I'm invisible. I'm like, great.
We had a bout of that today. Elliot went invisible and intangible. It's like full ghost mode.
Wow. Yeah, I had a good one where
that?
I was like, you're invisible, but I can follow your footsteps. And I was like Ravage, and I was like following the footsteps, and then he started like covering up his footsteps. I was like, that's good. That's actually good. That's impressive.
I tried to fill the area with smoke, so I'd see him passing through the smoke, but he's like, nah, the smoke just passes through me. I'm like,
yeah. Kid, you could do anything. He's like, nah. Hey, they're like little Cobra Commanders.
Yeah.
They've always got another plan. So... we've been doing this show for a while now, and we've been flitting around the whole run. And, these first, 14 issues or so, don't they just so stand out? I mean, obviously they stand out. They're so old. But for my money, they stand out for all the right reasons. A lot of creativity happening, a new IP, clearly a lot of freedom being given to the creators, to
an uncertainty that this book would continue, I think.
Yeah.
So no long episodic.
But as you said, they had Joe vehicles that you could buy, so they're obviously okay. We've got to do that. But I wonder when they're coming up with stuff like the sea legs, are they thinking, well, Hasbro thinking, they're going to be tricky to make. Try something else. what's informing, which way round is it going here? That's what I'm confused. Is Larry being...
I think the artist just sees a need and
Yeah.
makes something up because Cobra's got nothing at this point. Maybe, and it's just occurred to me now, maybe in the back of Herb's mind, he's like, if I make up a winning design, maybe Hasbro will use it and throw me some royalties.
So are you saying it's the other way round and Hasbro are sliding images of HISS tanks and things?
Not yet anyway. I think concept stuff starts getting back to Marvel later.
Okay.
And that's why we see some pretty close to conceptual HISS tanks in like the latest stuff. I think Night Attack has a HISS tank that has the sort of jaw that drops down. Now that was an early concept for the HISS tank toy that the occupant would get in from the bottom. Of course, what we got was a far simpler thing, just a glass canopy that flips up, much easier to engineer, stuff like that. But I think back in this comics era, I think this is exactly what it appears to be, and that's Herb had a plot need, so he created Cobra equipment to fill it.
The HISS tank toy and how it's drawn in the comics. Do we ever get good interiors of the HISS tank in the toy? In the comic. Not really, because the HISS tank is. Is there a lot of dead space in the back?
Well, coming back to that issue that I'm touching upon, like if memory serves, we get to see the back sill because Destro and Cobra Commander and Hawk are having a three-way scrap back there. We see the interiors insofar as we see like Venom sitting in there. Baroness is there. In fact, the tank even has a steering wheel. I think at one point Baroness kind of throws the wheel over in order to crash her tank into Major Blood's tank. So I mean, I don't know.
Because for my money, like the toy, you just get the canopy. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
There's some sculpting on the inside.
Okay, but it just feels like there should be like an APC quality to it in that back section.
Oh, right. They did it for the HISS too. They did it for the direct-to-consumer HISS, which I can show you if you just chew the airways for a few seconds.
Seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we used to do it with the toy. Just unkey the turret, pull that out, and you can stick figures inside.
Okay, how many figs could you get? I wonder. Oh, don't wake the beasts. What? He could pull down anything.
Here we have a HISS tank from the 2000s.
That looks cool.
This is the direct-to-consumer HISS.
Okay, what does that mean, direct-to-consumer?
It means Hasbro were no longer selling to Toys R Us.
Okay.
They were selling directly. You could order this from the Hasbro website at a nicely reduced price, cutting out the middleman, as it were. And it's sort of made to order, like on demand. So yes, it opens.
That's nice.
You can get some guys in there.
Oh, you can definitely. What can you get? Have you got like a little bench? Do they sit? What do they do in there?
I don't think my lighting rig is up to it. I can do. Great radio, Ben. Great radio.
I don't know how I feel about the kind of military camo touches.
Oh, you mean the mud splatters? It's benches.
It's slightly confused because it loses its cobra-ness, I think.
So of course you've got the turret sort of bell.
Yeah, that's so cool in there.
But there is a bench.
Fantastic.
So I can get 4 guys into a HISS. Lovely.
Yeah. A HISS arrives, it rolls out, 4 dudes get out the back. That's more like it.
And this thing's beefed up its weaponry a bit.
It's very beefed.
It's got 6 missiles and then sort of chin guns.
Yeah. Dude, do you remember last episode we covered what Joe vehicle were we talking about? Was it the battle wagon?
The battle wagon and the brawler and the badger.
Yeah, there's a battle wagon going on Vinted for like 30 quid. And I was thinking about purchasing.
Have the battery features been tested?
I don't know. I haven't got that far with my
suppose 30
inquiries.
quid, it's worth rolling the dice. And battery functions can be fixed, can be, corroded points can be replaced, or you can scratch corrosion off.
Do you own one?
I do. It works. Okay. It was a donation.
Was it? Yeah. But it's back in SA.
So you've got a cavity for D batteries that will give you like forward motion on these big chunky rubber air-filled tires.
Oh, that's nice.
Very nice. And it's the best of the bunch. Like, as far as the battery operated vehicles go, the Battle Wagon is like number one.
Yeah. Does it have...
So I've never tried a Crossfire, but that's a ball ache.
It just has one gear in terms of...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it's forward and reverse. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just a switch at the back. And then, what's even more fun, the turret is battery operated to flick out those missiles in succession.
Does it have a driver?
No.
You must be fuming about that. It's a relatively large... How? That's a large vehicle. You get that on Christmas Day, you're going to be peeved off.
I guess...
What vehicle that size doesn't come with a fig?
I guess where I stand on driver figures is, sure, it's amazing to get a figure with your vehicle. That is the cherry on the top of the set.
Yeah.
But for some vehicles, you don't want to have them married to one particular guy because they're just a general purpose Jeep. Like, why do I need skid mark always at the wheel of the Desert Fox? Why does crankcase always have to be at the wheel of the Ore Striker? Every Joe should be more than welcome to drive them.
And they are. But if I get a Havoc, I want cross country. You best believe that.
There needs to be more of a spreading of like vehicle assignments, and I think the Battle Wagon and vehicles of its ilk, like the Hammer, also another moderate to large vehicle that didn't come with a driver. Like they just need to be for all Joes to just jump in and use.
What about the? Is it the Mean Dog?
The Mean Dog has a driver.
Yeah,
Wild Card.
Wild Card. Dude, my friend Scott, now he got the Mean Dog, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I got 2 Sky Patrol parachutes and attached one to each end of the Mean Dog. And I just picked up the Mean Dog in my back garden and I just chucked it as high as I could. You know, I was studying science at school at that time. I don't know what I was thinking. And it came down and it broke and he left my house crying. And I heard him say, Ben broke my Mean Dog. I felt terrible. What was I thinking with those Sky Patrol parachutes?
They taught science, but apparently they didn't teach common sense.
They were kind of made out of foil. Foil. Well, they were shite.
They were garbage. Absolutely.
They just didn't have any kind of natural. They didn't want to open and deploy.
But it also, lobbing up to come down doesn't work. You have to be up high.
Yeah, my brother's bedroom served as our launch point for all aerial GI Joe combat. So a big favorite of ours was to get a very thin, either a piece of thread or rope, and we tie it to the window and then all across the garden, and then very simply just get the Joe's hands to form a seal, and they would just zip line down. Oh, it was so fun. We used to do that for hours, and I'd give my brother a bucket of figs, and I was like, we're just going to do every one, and maybe like 1 out of every 20 was a little bit loosey-goosey, and they'd be like, oh, and they'd fall, but you kind of wanted that to happen. Oh, I have such good memories of that. You know, play always happened like that. It would like elevate, and risk to the toy would usually become, would get involved. But that made it really fun.
Was it a kind of break in play if there was a casualty? If you did
That's what I mean.
Did that kill it?
Yeah, and it would always be so interesting who it was that that didn't make it. You'd be like, no.
I'm talking about actual breakages.
Like, yeah.
Your Mean Dog story, that obviously ended the game that day.
Oh, I think
that
ended
when you and your brother were playing,
our friendship.
I'll bet. Hey, maybe.
Yeah, but we've spoken about this before, where the figure that gets broken, or every person had a figure that was, for some reason, just crazy, like loose. So for us, it was Dusty. So my Dusty, we basically just called him Loosey Goosey because he was just a rag doll. You know, he'd been so played with and sort of been grubbed up and then put in the bath. And
was the crotch gone?
He was just sort of useless. He was difficult to play with, but it was just formed his personality somehow.
Was his dick gone, dude? Did you blow his crotch piece?
No, I think I still got him, and he's still loosey goosey. You know,
Dusty has a particularly thin crotch piece, so if you
really,
a loosey goosey Dusty is the way to go, man. You can pose that sucker without fear of his penis flying off.
You know, I mean, everyone has a figure where you can just do this, and their knee just goes back. It's that loose. It's just like crazy. Yeah,
I find that as a stamp of pride. Those are my favorite figures of all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then there's another figure. Oh, look, he's got that scratch there, and you always see that. And then you have these relationship with them, and it's like to someone else looking at it, they're just like, yeah, cool. And it's like, oh yeah, but I know that my mind bender's got like this little thing here or that little thing there. Yeah.
I dislike my mintiest figures.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They've got no story.
Well, they've got that, and also they're prohibitive for play. I have a complete set of Sky Patrol figures. One of them is loose, played with condition. Mm-hmm. The other 5 are all like they were released from the card yesterday. They are absolutely dead mint, and I just don't want to use them.
Yeah, no years on their soul, no stories.
Never want to take those parachutes out. You know, they've been folded up and placed inside the parachute packs once, and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. And then sometimes your memory goes and you're like, I don't really know why my Flint is maybe the most battered Joe figure you've ever seen. You're like,
Flint?
You're just like, what did he get put through? That it's almost ridiculous how smashed and battered he is. It's crazy. I'm like, what the heck was I doing with this poor dude?
Having the time of your life.
Yeah,
and
everyone has their favorites, you know? Yeah. And like you said, I got no interested in a mint Flint. I want my one. And that's why when I buy these figs off eBay, the new ones, it's like, it's lovely to have them and it's great, but they have no stories, you know? They just don't
you're very fortunate to have your childhood Joes.
Yeah.
And you rue the day your mother got rid of your vehicle collection.
Yeah, or my father. Someone did. But
now, Ben, can we just circle back to this issue? Would you agree with my hypothesis that this is Herb Trimpe's like finest moment in his GI Joe career? A storied career. We owe much to him, but it doesn't get better than this.
Well, when you read it, do you, like, Pepsi Challenge, can you, what are his traits as a writer, do you think, that sets himself apart from Larry? Do you think it is blindingly obvious that this is not a Larry book, or is it really too early in the pantheon of GI Joe to be like, well, no?
I don't think I would have caught wise as a child reading this back in the day.
No,
this was not Larry, because both of them, like Herb was responsible for a lot of the plotting of the early books as well. He kind of for a time alternated with Larry, like Operation Wingfield issue 4 was scripted by Larry. So the words are ultimately his, but the plot is entirely Herb's.
Mm-hmm.
So they worked very closely on those early books, or not closely necessarily, but they co-authored a lot of the first 10 or so.
Yeah.
Before Larry kind of really got into his straps and was giving us Springfield and Dr. Venom and the Brainwave Scanner and unpacking all these concepts, which he probably had on the back burner for Fury Force, but were now finding their way into G.I. Joe, because he was like, I don't know how long this thing's going to be around for. Let me just keep plugging away. This is all I've got,
Yeah.
Really dig deep. But I think another factor that makes these work so well in symphony, Larry and Herb, is they both served in Vietnam. I learned while I was on Herb's Wikipedia page that he was actually a weatherman for the Air Force.
Wow.
That he was giving weather reports to the air cavalry of the army. So the guys flying the Hueys, Herb was probably giving them accurate weather conditions for their routes.
Wow.
And he did 4 years, became a senior airman before he left. So he talks the talk. Like the way the Joes talk in the sort of the unit joshing that they have is something that you can't learn. You have to live it. And he lived it. And we're getting the benefit of that, just like we get it with Larry. It's
and
so
also,
nice
that's so close. I mean, this is 1982. That's recent history for both those dudes. A couple of decades later,
they are doing 12 years ago.
They are co-creating, co-writing, this kind of military book. That must have been quite surreal for them both, I'd imagine, actually. That's what they ended up working on together.
Well, a lot of people from the United States were of that generation.
Mm-hmm.
They were being shipped off in droves.
But you believe that really gives it a level of authenticity that comes off the page in terms of that banter that they have, the Joes.
Well, think about it. We've got high science, but in the same book, we've got a GI Joe green shirt unit speaking like military men, and women. They sort of gallows humor. It's very much what you'd expect from servicemen.
Yes.
It's just...
especially, we haven't really covered it. The kind of the sassiness that they're giving Hawk when they are inquiring about their next mission. That's full on. They're really they're all going for it there.
Yeah. And the opening, the literal cold open, where G.I. Joe's in a sort of simulated ice box.
They're not happy.
Let's do it right this time. There's the right way, the wrong way, and the army way. It's like these are slogans that they've seen dozens and dozens of times in probably video presentations and talks and stuff. And it's like, here we are, just doing labor, basically.
Exactly. And that's probably... feeding into that whole thing that, when you're in the army, there's actually not a lot of fighting. You're setting stuff up, taking it down. It's monotonous. And that
just
page
like
is all about
train us
that.
in the snow and then send us to Florida. This is rock and roll.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Such a lovely anachronism. Such a thing of its time. And once again, getting back to just like the joshing that would happen in a close-knit unit. Let's go, Steeler. They're disembarking the plane that's taking them to Florida. Let's go, Steeler. Last one off. Empties the ashtrays.
So you're led to believe that they've all just been sucking on death sticks.
Totally, dude. It was a book of the 80s. Every single Joe is a smoker. And also probably the briefing that they have with Hawk once they are in Florida. They probably, unless there's, the comics code probably would have prohibited it, but they probably would all be smoking in that room.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And they would have probably been branded, getting some juicy, cash there.
G.I. Joe issue 8, the movie. Oh god, this would be
it's
great,
one of my. Whenever I watch 80s films and stuff, when you're wise to it, it's incredible. Like Ghostbusters, especially, Budweiser and Marlboro are paying for that film.
You betcha.
It's relentless. Not happening today. But look, a solid episode of Chasing Joe, covering issue 8. We there's no method to this. We just dart around from late in the run to its humble beginnings. That was a fine read. I'm still blown away by the quality of that. Whew.
Yep.
Absolutely stunning. Forgotten the dude I got it from, but someone in America. Etsy's gone a little bit cold, actually. I don't know if it's these compendiums, but Joe prices for these comics is going up. I don't know if they're selling for that, but yeah, it's getting punchy. But
good luck
look,
to you then. Yikes.
If you want to hear more from me, get over to my other podcast, People Who Play with My Wife, over on Substack. I'm still posting thumbnails for Chasing Joe. I'm almost caught up, S-Jubs. My life has become those thumbnails. I think I'm going to hire out a cafe and have some, like a little art installation and just put them up. Because I create them and then I keep reminding myself, these are thumbnails. These are tiny.
So although you want to blow them up a bit of a...
It's really cool. On my TV, I was like, what does Chasing Joe look like on a TV in terms of like the thumbnails? Are they bigger? And when you go to the playlist, Chasing Joe, you get all the thumbnails. And when you hover on one, it takes up the whole screen in the background. Yes. Very cool. And I was like, there it is. Time to shine, baby.
That's how you should be taking in Chasing Joe, dear viewer.
Yeah, on a big old flat screen. Right, buddy. Anything you want to say? Where can the good people find you?
You are right there. If you're listening to this, watching this, you are already checking out the GI Joburg feed. Maybe check out what else we got going on over there. Or just keep it locked on Chasing Joe, week to week. We're chasing it here, we're chasing it there, we're chasing it everywhere.
Okay, we've got what have we got? What have we got coming up next week? Well, I can't say because that would break the show. But rest assured, it's gonna be good.
Awesome.
Cobra!
Cobra!